everyone, this is Street Biashara, where we test your general knowledge on business and financial terms. I'm your host, Brenda Yamichaba, and when you see my face, you know it's that time where I go out asking Kenyans what they understand about different terms. Today we're looking at interest rates. Have you heard of it before? Well, we're about to find out.
Let's say maybe like I'm saving for 1 year, so maybe the interest for 1 year, maybe it would be what will be accrued is like maybe like 2,000. Yeah.
I guess like the money they tend to give out loans with the interest, but yeah, because I imagine banks have 3 to 5% interest.
Interest is the amount or the token you earn on the money you've saved.
Interest is when you deposit amount, for example, there's certain cumulative amount that it's always added on, and it depends on the period that you placed in. So if you place like 100 shillings for the interest to occur, it means it has to go also with a certain period of time. Yeah, so that interest, the top amount is the interest than the amount that you deposited.
Interest is what now you get from the fixed deposit.
Interest is the amount of money that you are required to deposit, perhaps monthly, annually, quarterly, maybe half a year, but it is the amount of money that you are going to pay for you to get that particular asset, or maybe services, but it is the amount of money that you are required to pay, so that you can be able to acquire the actual ownership of a particular thing.
Now, after getting the chance to know what exactly Kenyans really understand with the term interest, after getting those interesting answers, I felt like it's important for me to come back in studio and have an expert break it down for us. Now, joining me is once again Michael Muredi, who's head of business development at the Maisha Microfinance Bank. Thank you for joining me once again, Michael. We'll just jump right into you breaking down for us a general definition of what interest is.
Thank you, Brenda, for having me, and even now to define what interest is. Interest, in terms of, if I may break it down or explain it, this is the money that is on top of the principal. By principal, I mean the amount that you have placed on a fixed deposit, say 1,000 shillings.
Yeah.
So at the time of maturity, at the time or the period that you have given that money to be placed at a fixed, there are earnings that are in that particular, but for that particular principle that have been placed or set aside. So what is above that principle, that initial amount that was placed, is what you will term as interest in a very clear and straightforward way. So anything above that, an example, you have placed 1,000 shillings, then at the end of the maturity you get like 100 shillings, 200 shillings. The 100 is what is the interest.
Okay, wonderful. Now, of course, interest varies depending on how much you save and for how long you save. I wanted to know I wanted to know how much interest can one get by saving with Mfanisi. Take, for example, I decide I want to save 100,000 Kenyan shillings for a year. How much benefit will I get from that?
Thank you. If you place 100,000 under Mfanisi fixed deposit for a period of 1 year, the interest rate is 11.25%. So simple mathematics, 100,000 times 11.25%, that one gives you, at the end of the year, you will have your, how many thousands? 100,000 by 11.25%. At the end of the year, you'll have your, is it 1,000, is it 11,000? Can we calculate this?
Yeah.
So 100,000, we are doing it practically. 100,000, we are giving interest of 11.25%. That one now gives you, at the end of the year, you'll have your 11,250 shillings.
Okay.
Having invested 100,000 with Mfanisi for a period of 1 year.
Wonderful. And also, I feel like when I was asking these questions, to individuals out there that really didn't understand why an interest is even important in the first place. They would rather save with a bank and get the slightest interest they do get from a bank rather than any other platforms. So I wanted for you to explain to us why it is important for you to save and also ensure you get an interest when you save.
Definitely, it's very good to have that focus planning, because if someone had 100,000 in a bank account and it is not under M-Fanisi, it's not on fixed deposit, you will not get that interest that we have seen of 11,000. So the story will be different for somebody who has 100,000 just lying in a bank account. But if you invest that with M-Fanisi for a period of 1 year, you get yourself the return of 11.25% per annum. Then you'll have your 11,000 on top of that. So you'll be talking of 111,000 on top of the 100, while the one whose 100,000 is still lying on the account will be talking of 100,000.
Great,
That's the benefit.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'm personally, I've been able to see the benefit. I'm very eager also to start my saving journey this way so I can gain as much interest as I possibly can with my savings. And I do hope our viewers have seen the benefit of doing the same. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's it for this episode of Street Biashara. We'll see you guys on the next one.